Yo, what's up, guys? In this video, we're going to be going over this article that I thought was kind of funny about Jordan Peterson's new book release prompts tears, outcry among publisher staff. So, the publisher who's publishing his book, Penguin Publishing, they're known, as far as I know, they're known for a lot of self-help books, right? And so they published Jordan Peterson's book, apparently. And, well, let's just read the article. Employees at Penguin Random House Canada reportedly cried over the publisher's decision to publish Jordan Peterson's new book during a town hall meeting. Peterson, a Canadian clinical psychologist, self-styled as the, quote, professor against political correctness, unquote, announced his new book, Beyond Order 12 More Rules for Life, will be released in March 2021 in a YouTube video on Monday. Vice reported that the news sparked an outcry at Canada's biggest book publisher, with some staffers confronting management in a bid to cancel the book's release. Dozens more filed anonymous complaints about the book, the report said. 4 Penguin Random House Canada employees told Vice that the company was secretive about Peterson's book and it didn't appear in an internal database that usually includes all upcoming releases. So, Vice, Jordan Peterson, new book. Where is this Vice article? So one thing that you have to understand about the mainstream media is that they don't do anything on accident. This is not just like we've seen this with the election, right? Once you have shown your true colors, mainstream media, Vice included, now every time you look at anything that they publish, you have to kind of think, why are they publishing this? What is the narrative that they want to push? We already know they're very biased about the coronavirus, where they're very biased against Trump or anything that is not pro-establishment, right? It's not really liberal or progressive, it's pro-establishment. So when we look at this, we know, right? For those of you who don't know about the controversy surrounding Jordan Peterson in the past, people tried to link him to neo-Nazis because he took a picture with a Pepe flag. And Pepe is, the green frog meme from 4chan, right? And so they said, oh, you took a picture with this Pepe frog with the flag or the Kekistan flag or something like that. That means you support neo-Nazis and you hate Jews and blah, blah, blah. And he's actually said in interviews, no, I hate those people. I don't like the alt-right. I'm not anti-Semitic. That's not me. Those people don't like me because I say very clearly in like explicit terms, I don't like them, they don't like me, that's not what I stand for. So anybody who has actually listened to any interviews of his or read any of his books or know that this guy is actually actually read any of his work, it's very clear very quickly that this guy is not a fucking neo-Nazi. He's very educated, he's very intelligent, and the reason he's even getting lumped into this whole to that group is because he doesn't like compelled speech, right? So his whole thing, to sum it up really, is that he doesn't like the whole gender pronoun thing, right? Because he said not that he doesn't like the gender pronoun thing, he doesn't want that to be enforced by a law in the government. Because once you compel people to say certain things, oh, you can say this, but you can't say that, you're taking away people's rights to free speech. And his argument, because he studied history and he was I think a political science major, and he studied history and communism and fucking totalitarianism and shit like that. And he basically says that once you start that's the slippery slope in the slide towards totalitarianism, which we saw with Russia and China and fucking Cambodia and all these, big countries that have started out the same way. So anyway, that's his whole thing. And the establishment, as represented by really the mainstream media, has tried to attack him. But if you've ever seen any of his interviews on YouTube, this dude is so smart and so slick that he just handles them all because he's so dialed in to what he really believes that he can handle all of their gotcha questions, I guess. And I'll link to it here. There was one interview that he did with this British woman who was really attacking the shit out of him, and he put her in her place, and the video went viral, and it was really great and amazing. And it's one of the things that helped put Jordan Peterson on the map. So this article by Vice, the point is that we have to kind of look at this and see why are they doing this, right? There's 2 reasons that they could be doing this. Either they're in favor of Jordan Peterson and they really like him and they want to help him promote his book because this is some sort of guerrilla marketing op by Penguin, because you have to think about it like this, right? when Penguin releases a book, they don't just say like, oh, we're going to release the book. Like, okay, I hope people buy it. We're not going to do any marketing though. No, they do like a coordinated marketing effort. And most of the, it's the marketing effort is not just like, hey guys, Jordan Peterson released a new book. It's going to be really great. You should go buy it. Another strategy is you create a controversy about it, and that will encourage people to at least look into it, right? This is number one on Google Trends right now, right? Number one on Google Trends as far as today. So you have to kind of think about that, right? So anyway, that's one potential thing that could be happening here with Vice, is that this is like because Penguin, there's a lot of similarities between Penguin Publishing and Vice. They're both kind of in the media, right? Major publishing houses, you could make the argument, would have close ties to an online publication like Vice, right? Another book comes out from somebody else. It's possible that they would coordinate some sort of promotional effort with Vice in order to do that. Another potential thing is that they hate Jordan Peterson and they're trying to smear him, and they're trying to like take away any sort of legitimacy from him and actually get his book canceled, which is stupid because I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. But then again, this is a fucked up world, so what do I know? 4 Penguin Random House Canada employees who did not want to be named due to concerns over their employment said the company held a town hall about the book Monday, during which executives defended the decision to publish Peterson while employees cited their concerns about platforming someone who is popular in far-right circles. Quote, he is an icon of hate speech and transphobia, and the fact that he's an icon of white supremacy regardless of the content of his book. I'm not proud to work for a company that publishes him. A junior employee who is part of the LGBTQ community who attended the town hall told Vice World News. So like, I kind of don't care. Like this, okay, icon of hate speech, I wonder how that is actually, how is he an icon of hate speech, right? You could say these are baseless accusations because they don't provide any actual evidence. This is just a little like soundbite. Transphobia, the whole thing is that he doesn't want government, there's no nuance here. It's not that Jordan Peterson says, no, you can't be gay and you can't be trans and that's bad, and if you do that, you're a bad person and immoral. That's not what he says. He's just saying that the government should not step in and require you to use certain pronouns, because once you introduce compelled speech into a society, it starts a slippery slope towards totalitarianism, because then you can compel people to do other things as well once you take away their right to free speech, which obviously the media is, they have their own issues with that. Another employee said, quote, people were crying in the meeting about how Jordan Peterson has affected their lives. They said one coworker discussed how Peterson had radicalized their father, and another talked about how publishing the book will negatively affect their non-binary friend. Okay, radicalized their father. What does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Radicalized in what way, right? This is what's missing here. This is the like, and I think the reason this is missing is either because it's not true, or because it's just a smear piece and they don't have anything to back it up. Like, what does that mean? Nobody's going to read a Jordan Peterson book and be like, oh my God, he's right. Fuck black people. Fuck Jews. Jordan Peterson, Heil Hitler. Like, that's not the logical thought process of somebody who reads Jordan Peterson's books. Yeah, he talks about personal responsibility and being, living your life in a way that makes you feel good about living your life, but it's not about like hating other people because of the color of their skin or, because of their fucking sexual preferences. It has nothing to do with that. Not even a little bit. A third employee told Vice World News that the company's diversity inclusion meeting received at least 70 anonymous messages about Peterson's book, and only a couple are in favor of the decision to publish it. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. We remain committed to publishing a range of voices and viewpoints. So another thing that could potentially be happening is that you would see this a lot. Like, what is astroturfing? Astroturfing is basically marketing that doesn't look like marketing. Right. So this, for example, and the reason that I'm now leaning towards this is actually what's happening is because you see this now syndicated on a lot of mainstream media. Well, I don't know. I could be wrong. But one thing that I saw here, where is it? Is this the first tweet by Michaela Peterson, which they published, right? Now, to do this, on an article for Newsweek. She is, well, I guess they're also publishing a link to the Vice article, so this is promotion for them. So it's pretty smart. Whoops, it's pretty smart of her to do that. Because anyway, the point is that they are essentially, what is Newsweek doing by posting this tweet by Michaela Peterson is they're helping promote the book, really, is what it is. Because there is now a link. It's like, ooh, I want to see what this link is. So you click on it, and now I have a link to the book, an affiliate link from Michaela Peterson if I actually want to buy this. I am going to fucking buy this book, 100%, 1000%. I'm going to buy this book. And it's going to be my cardio partner. I'm going to listen to it at least 10 times. If it's anything like the first one. And, well, we'll get into that later. The report by Vice was circulated widely on social media, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, what I was going to say is, like, you see this a lot with cryptocurrency, where if you, let's say there's a new coin coming out, and the company that is releasing that coin pays you to promote the coin, right? A very transparent way of promoting the coin would be like, oh my God, have you guys heard about this new coin? It's going to have this feature and that feature, and it's going to be amazing. And like, wow, all this stuff is like, it's going to be the best coin ever. Like, you guys should definitely check it out. That's very transparent. And people who are sensitive to advertising in various communities, like cryptocurrency, where there's so much obvious fucking fake bullshit going on, they're going to be able to pick that out in a second. A much more subtle strategy that flies over most people's heads is what you do is you create a very weak argument against the coin or against whatever it is. And then you kind of open the door for somebody to leave a response, and the response is actually the marketing message that you want to deliver. So for something like this, right, we look at Newsweek here, and what do we have is that you have this, like, what I think is a really weak argument. He's an icon of hate speech and transphobia, and the fact that he's an icon of white supremacy, regardless of the content of his book. I'm not proud to work for a company that publishes him, one employee who's a member of the, like, this, correct me if I'm wrong, it could possibly be just because I have, like, normal standards for basic conduct in civilization, that I think this is some fucking weak-ass, pussy, bitch-ass shit right here. Like, I'm not proud to work for a company that publishes him. Motherfucker, you're lucky to have a job in coronavirus times. You're not proud to work for a company. So, on your way, be gone, peasant. Go work for Vice. People were crying in the meeting about how Jordan Peterson has affected their lives. Like, these are weak arguments because they don't present any sort of concrete evidence, right? It's like they radicalized their father. What does that mean? If they had said instead, my father, I don't know, started beating me and bought a Nazi flag and fucking grew a Hitler mustache after reading Jordan Peterson, that's much more specific. That's something that people can, like, latch onto and say, well, look, this guy had an actual negative effect on somebody, so he must be bad. But that didn't actually happen. This is a very weak argument because it doesn't actually provide any specific evidence to support it. This, quote, will negative affect their non-binary friend. Also, very weak argument. So then what you have after this is you have an advertisement for it, right? So it's like, this thing created controversy. Here's a link to buy it if you want. And then you have this one. Conservative pundit Candace Owens also called for the employees to be terminated. I've never understood business owners being, quote, confronted by employees making demands. As a business owner, I simply cannot relate. There's a fast track to unemployment for those of us that have a spine. I didn't build my businesses for entitled brats to tell me how to run it. For real. Like, and anybody who's ever had a business, like, you don't, even if you're really out of line, let's say you're really out of line and you have a mutiny and all of your employees are like, or let's just say you're a shitty business owner and your employees are like, oh, we don't want to work for you. All right, the door's right there. Let me write you your last check. Like, get on your way. Take your shit and get the fuck out. Really. That's how most business owners will operate. Most business owners are very shrewd and they don't really pander to this, like, crybaby bullshit. Anyway, I thought this was interesting because, like I said, the media they don't do shit on accident, right? So let's read more about the Vice article because Vice writes really long articles and we can probably get a better idea for what they act like, the narrative that they're trying to push. Like, is this really promotion or is it just Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to touch on this really quick. He quickly became popular in right-wing and libertarian circles across the globe, becoming a regular guest on Joe Rogan's podcast. He amassed 3.25 million YouTube followers who tuned into his lectures on why white privilege isn't real, how masculinity is under attack. At one point, he was making $80,000 a month on Patreon. His book, 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos, included instructions like stand up straight with your shoulders back, set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world, and sold more than 5 million copies worldwide, according to Penguin Random House. So if we look at this, right, what is the narrative here? Is this narrative that, like, aside from saying he became popular in right-wing and libertarian circles, right-wing is fairly mild, right? It's not alt-right. It's not neo-Nazi. It's not fucking Hitler apologists or like Holocaust deniers. Libertarian, also fairly mild, even for Vice. Like, libertarian does not have a negative connotation like some of those other things. A regular guest on Joe Rogan's podcast, very popular. 3.25 million YouTube followers. That's social proof, right? Why white privilege isn't real. Okay, a little bit of controversy there. And how masculinity is under attack. That's fine. One could make that argument. I think even feminists today would say that masculinity is under attack. At one point, he was making $80,000 a month on Patreon. Now, interesting story about this. He was making $80,000 a month on Patreon. He shut down his own Patreon voluntarily because they removed, I think it was Milo Yiannopoulos or something. They deplatformed him because they didn't like what he was saying. And he canceled his own Patreon on purpose because he did not want to support a platform that deplatformed people because, of cancel culture, really. So he said no thank you to $80,000 a month. That's what, like, shit, most people make in a year, if you're lucky, right? But I think that's fairly honorable. And if you look into that a little bit, you would realize that. So they wouldn't mention that unless they wanted people to look into it. I don't think, right? His book, 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos, included instructions like, quote, stand up straight with your shoulders back and set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. Is there anything wrong with that? I mean, to me, maybe I'm biased, but to me, this sounds like legitimate advice, right? But I guess if you're like a hardcore pro-establishment progressive, you'd be like, what? I'm not allowed to criticize the world because my life is a mess? That's not fair. We need change. I don't really know. Let's see here. What else is there? How we think about our publishing and the range of books and authors that we publish is an evolving process and part of an ever-changing conversation, and one I'm eager to have in a bigger way with all of you, Cochran said in the email, referencing a larger meeting planned for the new year. In the meantime, though, I realize some of you might have thoughts to share on this particular publication, and so shortly following this note, you will receive an invitation from Ann Collins where she will share blah, blah, blah. Spin it as a positive to be publishing this book. He's the one who's responsible for radicalizing and causing the surge of alt-right groups, especially on university campuses. Okay, so like, it's kind of crazy that if you say anything other than the mainstream narrative, you are alt-right, If you say anything other than like, whatever, like the mainstream narrative, really, you're alt-right. It's fucked up, man. They knew what they were doing wasn't right, and they knew so many people in their company were upset about him, blah, blah, blah. Doing it for money. Let's see. Peterson has maintained a very low profile over the past year as he has been dealing with serious health issues, which, according to his daughter, included a medically induced coma as he attempted to detox in Russia for benzodependence. In a subdued YouTube video Monday, Peterson said he had been working on his 12 rules. So now they have, what does it say? Previous version of the story said a non-binary employee spoke about, in fact, the employee was speaking about their non-binary friend. So they linked also to the YouTube video. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this? I'm not really sure if this is guerrilla marketing or if this is them actually trying to get him canceled. It does not seem like they're actually trying to get him canceled. It does not seem like that, because if they were, they would attack him. This would be a lot more about why Jordan Peterson is a bad guy and less about what actually happened in the town hall meeting. Like Vice is not shy to write fucking 10,000 word articles. And this shit would be like down to fucking all the way down to like here if they actually wanted to cancel his book. That doesn't seem to be the case. It could be that they're just taking everybody's temperature and they're like, let's see what they really think about Jordan Peterson. But you got to understand, people fucking love this guy. Like, he is one of the most popular authors, or really just authors, speakers. Like, this guy is in the top 5 for sure. And he's so visible and he's so intelligent. And people just really like to hear the stuff that he says and they want to hear more. So anyway, just thought I would cover this. I thought it was interesting because I'm a huge Jordan Peterson fan, obviously. And I definitely plan on buying his fucking book for sure, 100%. Like I said, going to listen to it probably about 20 times while I go do cardio. That is like, it makes me want to do cardio. It's like, oh boy, I get to go listen to Jordan Peterson for an hour. You know, it's fun. Anyway, what do you guys think about this? Are you going to buy Jordan Peterson's new book? Is he really secretly a neo-Nazi and planning the rise of the Fourth Reich? Let me know. Leave me a comment. Also, got a fitness course coming out. Link in the description. Peace.